Black art is born out of struggle and a deep revolutionary love. Is a balance of bullet holes and sunlight. Is the fight to free Angela and Assata. Black art is hand grenades and homegirls personified. Is anti-lynching movements. Is a three-quarter round, an up-close look inside culture, inside the hearts of a people. Is unapologetic. We are a coming together of movements and shared pains and black magic. Black theater, never disconnected from the murdering of black bodies, the trials, the prisons, the voices, the freedoms. Black theater is the fight for Paul Robeson's passport, the struggle against McCarthyism, the 50s bus boycotts, MLK and Rosa Parks, marches on Washington, the lives, the rallies, the fierceness of Malcolm's delivery, the Jackie Robinson story on Broadway, the audacity of Lena Horne, the undaunting Harry Belafonte, the swagger of Sidney Poitier. Black art is Cicely Tyson's refusal to take the role and destroying every line she decided to speak. We, storytellers, griots, we molded from obsidian stone, black and precious and honest. We are the continuum, torchlighters, full of promise, rooted in love, and absolute proof that beautiful black life exists. From the 40s American Negro Theater and Negro Playwrights Company to the 1960s revolutionary voices who decided to abolish racial stereotypes and reach for our culture full of natural comedic pauses. A new Afro-futuristic mythology that included black and beautiful in the same space, from the baritone of Paul Robeson's Harlem Renaissance voice to Langston Hughes' National Broadway nod in 1935, the training ground for black stories, the necessity of black spaces coming to life through the Federal Theater Project. We are the deep, rich color and visionary pen of Lorraine Hansberry's masterpiece, A Raisin in the Sun. World shapers in the form of actors, writers, dancers, composers, playwrights, poets, those of us who say we are artists, but understand we must also represent the pulse of the front line and never bury our faces of our community in our hands or inside our scripts. We exist in the shadows of sheer eloquence and legend and grace of the wondrous works of art we know as Ossie Davis and Ruby Dee, Amiri Baraka's The Dutchman, the corners, black artists turned into stages, the public we reclaimed as our own private audiences, that smoky bar we transformed into stage, into Zaki's Colored Girls, challenging a world to hear our complicated feminine voices of survival, the blending of poetry and dance to create choreopoem. Black art makes space for black girls to reimagine the twisted American lie of beauty. Black art allows black boys to be human, allows black boys to become men. Black art is not for sale. Black theater is our safe space, is our kitchen table, our Sunday morning, is Ron Milner's checkmates and August Wilson's piano lessons and the fences we built and crossed over and wrote songs to and pulled apart. Detroit is the historical heartbeat of black theater. The city that gave birth to Lloyd Richards, Ron Milner, and the woman in yellow, Aku Kadogo. In 1962, an empty tavern on East Adams Street became Concept East. Walls were painted, seats were installed, and magic was born. A 65-seat theater house dedicated to black community. A team that included Drama Associates founder David Rambo, Belden Raspberry, and playwright Dr. Charles H. Wright. Self-empowered and motivated, the power of collective artists carving the way for black theater on the East Side to become celebrated national treasure. Black art creates stages where there are no stages, turns invisible people into champions. 50 years of contribution, launched in the basement of St. Augustine's Church on the Lower East Side of Manhattan in 1970, Detroit pioneer Woody King Jr. founded New Federal Theater, home to Baraka's The Most Dangerous Man in America, Ed Bulling's The Taking of Miss Janie, a stage that saw the early careers of Chadwick, Debbie Allen, Morgan Freeman, Felicia Rashad, Denzel Washington, LaTanya, and Samuel L. Jackson, a space that explored the work of Detroit-raised playwrights Pearl Cleage, Tarika Turk, Karamu Kush, and more. Black art is resistance writing. Black art is resistance writing. Black art makes love to language. Black art is a tool for social change. Black art is necessary, is the deep breath, the recovery of sound, the emancipation of fear. Black art is obsidian rock, volcanic, with sharp edges, a flow of lava full of cool and rapidly growing stories. Obsidian theater is the tool that shapes the future, manufactures the next generation of genius. A smooth, deep, black, unbreakable glass, a bomb drop, a monologue, a translucent black rock, a perfect Ruby D stutter, the birthplace of soul, the unfiltered Black imagination lives here.
So we're back with John Sloan III. I mean, what can you say?
You know, I've been counted myself lucky to be a friend of Jessica's for years now, and every single time I see her on stage or read one of her pieces, I'm always in awe of that work. You know, that was a piece that I asked her to create specifically for this festival. And I think as everybody just was able to see, her piece in its breadth about the way it spoke to the Black experience, about the way it spoke to Black art, and then just about the power of her delivery and the way that she's able to put everything together. There are very few performers that have the ability to do that.
She's brilliant.
She is.
Is there anything else you want to say about it?
Well, you know, I think the great thing about that is Jessica is an artist that we are the type of artist we are trying to cultivate. Right? And so when we talk about the growth of emerging artists within Obsidian, it's so that they can get that opportunity, so they can present their work, so that they can grow, so that they can have touch points, right, with somebody like Jessica Care Moore, so they can grow their career in that way. And I think that's the type of artist that we know Detroit can produce and that we know Detroit can attract.
So you're gonna, in the future of Obsidian Theater Festival, are you gonna have like education, development?
I'm glad you asked that. Last year, even in our first year, leading up to the festival itself, we did 5 weeks of educational content. The goal is to be able to take somebody who might be walking into 7th, 8th grade, who looks at their parents and says, I want to be in theater. And their parents go, oh my God, how do you make money doing that? I don't know what that is. And show them a career path. This is exactly how you make money doing this. This is how you grow your career. This is how you can foster that inside of yourself. So what was a 5-week program last year is turning into an 8-week program this year, again, on the front of the festival, partnering with schools in Detroit, in Birmingham, across the country, in Atlanta, in DC, to try to make sure that everybody has access to those opportunities.
So John, what is the message behind Jessica's poem?
You know, I think Jessica would actually be the best person to answer that question. What I will say though is, you know, when we started talking about what this piece was, we started talking about speaking to Black art and Black theater, the strength, the resilience, and the history of that, right? And so that's why you hear her talking about the history and the trajectory of Black art and Black theater, about the elders in our community that have created that work, and about how a lot of that work started right here in Detroit and grew across the country, right? And is still imbued in the way that we as artists communicate, speak, and produce.
Thank you very much.